You think you understand inflation. You think it's that number they report on the news, 2.8% this month, they say, as if that explains anything. You look at your paycheck, you look at your bills, and you think you're fine. You think, I'm middle class, I can handle this. But here's the secret they'll never tell you. The number on your screen is a lie, a carefully calculated lie. Because real inflation, the kind that eats your wealth alive, is hidden, invisible. It's the slow bleed that no headline can capture. And if you're middle class, it's coming for you. And it doesn't announce itself. It doesn't roar like a stock market crash or housing bubble bursting. It seeps in through your utility bills, through your insurance premiums, through the tiny fees you ignore on your credit card statements. It hides in the rising cost of education, in the maintenance on your car and your home's property taxes. Every single thing you depend on is slowly being inflated in ways that your salary will never catch up to. And the worst part? Most people will never even notice until it's too late.
Remember that number you saw in the news? The CPI, the Consumer Price Index? That number is designed to make inflation look smaller than it really is. They swap expensive items for cheaper alternatives. They average costs across the country instead of showing what it costs in your city. They remove items that spike temporarily. So when you finally notice your grocery bill creeping up, when rent rises yet again, when your car insurance premiums jump, don't blame yourself. Don't blame your spending habits. The system is stealing from you, slowly, methodically, and quietly. Let's talk healthcare. Every year, premiums rise, deductibles rise, co-pays rise, and your employer gives you a tiny rise, barely enough to cover the increase. You tell yourself it's manageable, but the math doesn't lie. Every year, a bigger percentage of your income goes to staying alive. And don't forget education. Tuition has skyrocketed. Student loans compound. By the time someone graduates, they're already decades behind in wealth accumulation. Hidden inflation doesn't just raise prices, it forces you to borrow to survive. And if you think that tuition increase is unrelated to your rising healthcare costs, think again. Everything is connected. Everything is part of the same hidden extraction.
And wages? Real wages, adjusted for hidden inflation, haven't meaningfully grown in decades. Millions of middle-class workers are earning the same in real terms as they did 20, 30 years ago. Meanwhile, everything costs more, and debt has become a requirement, not an option. Rent, healthcare, car payments, groceries, they're all rising faster than you can earn. You see, the system is designed to extract more and more from you, quietly, invisibly. And the wealthy? They're laughing. Hidden inflation doesn't hit them the same way. They own assets, stocks, bonds, real estate that rise in value faster than the real rate of inflation. Their wealth compounds while the middle class sinks. The gap widens. And society pretends this is normal. They talk about economic growth while ignoring the invisible theft happening to your paycheck. Think about debt. Credit cards, mortgages, student loans, they're not neutral. They're a tool designed to extract value from the middle class while rewarding those who already have money. When interest rates rise, your debt payments rise too. Your disposable income shrinks. Meanwhile, banks, bondholders, and wealthy investors profit from the same policies that punish you. The system is rigged. It's not a conspiracy, it's economics designed to favor capital over labor.
And asset inflation? Homes, stocks, real estate, they all rise in value, but wages don't. Buying a home as a first-time buyer becomes impossible. Saving for retirement becomes a pipe dream. And the only way to keep up is to take on debt or invest in assets you don't fully understand, risking everything in a volatile market just to stay in place. Hidden inflation doesn't just steal from you, it traps you. Remember what I said about slowly creeping costs? That's exactly how it traps you. Every single expense that rises faster than your income is part of a cage. Let me remind you, hidden inflation is structural. It doesn't hit everyone equally. The poor consume less, so percentage-wise, it doesn't destroy them the same way. The wealthy have assets that rise faster than inflation, so they gain. The middle class, squeezed from both sides. Prices rise, wages stagnate, debt rises, and every year they fall further behind, often without noticing until retirement looms and there's nothing left.
Housing. 20 years ago, the average home cost $150,000. Today, $450,000. Rent has tripled in many cities. College tuition, up 5-fold. Health insurance, up 4-fold. And wages? Most middle-class wages have barely doubled, and some have stagnated entirely when adjusted for real costs. That's hidden inflation, a silent, slow-moving catastrophe, invisible in the numbers, devastating in reality. Remember when I mentioned policy? Every time the Federal Reserve injects money into the system, every time governments bail out banks, every time debt is piled onto future generations, the middle class pays the price. They pay through higher prices, higher taxes, and higher interest rates. The wealthy pay through asset appreciation. Every policy favors the top while punishing the middle. The media distracts you with stock market headlines and GDP growth, while the real theft happens quietly. And savings. Most middle-class families save in banks, in bonds, in cash accounts. Hidden inflation erodes those savings every year. A savings account earning 2% is losing value when real inflation is 5% or more. Bonds, traditionally safe, are now worthless when adjusted for hidden inflation. Your prudent financial decisions, the ones your parents taught you to make, no longer protect you. And worse, financial advisors either ignore hidden inflation or assume it's temporary. It's not. It's permanent. It's systemic.
And think about it. Every headline claiming economic stability is really a distraction. Politicians tell you the economy is growing. Analysts point to stock market gains, but these gains are concentrated at the top. Wealth redistribution from the middle class to the wealthy is accelerating year after year. Hidden inflation isn't just theft, it's a policy tool, a weapon, and the middle class is the target. It won't stop. Every time the economy slows, they print more money, they inject more stimulus, they prop up assets. And every time they do, hidden inflation accelerates. Prices rise, wages stagnate, debt grows, and the middle class falls further behind. The system punishes prudence, rewards speculation, and extracts wealth from those who can least afford it. By the time the collapse is visible, it's too late. Here's the loop again. The number on your paycheck might look like a raise, but after hidden inflation, it isn't. Your savings might look like growth, but they aren't keeping pace. The home you think is appreciating might be barely outpacing inflation. And all the while, the wealthy compound their wealth on assets you can't access. Every example I've given you loops back to the same point. The system is rigged, the middle class is trapped, and the extraction is invisible. The solution? Awareness, education, diversification. Protect yourself with assets that outpace inflation. Build multiple income streams. Reduce debt. Invest strategically. Ignore the mainstream narrative. Recognize the brutal truth. The middle class cannot survive without acknowledging the hidden inflation eroding their lives every day.
Because if you don't act, if you don't see it, your wealth, your security, your middle-class lifestyle, it will be destroyed. Slowly, invisibly, silently. Hidden inflation doesn't announce itself. It doesn't roar. It creeps. And when you notice, decades of your life's earnings, decades of your security will have been stolen. And the most terrifying part? Most people will never see it coming. They'll wake up one day, decades too late, staring at empty retirement accounts, unaffordable homes, and crushing debt. And they'll ask, how did this happen? And the answer will be simple. You were quietly rocked, methodically, by hidden inflation, and the system was never on your side. Remember the number they told you at the start? That 2.8%? That was never the truth. That number was a lie.
And if you don't understand why, if you don't prepare, it will cost you everything.